Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Krishna Prestaya Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivasesha Sunyavadi Prashkatya Jidatarini Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna
remember the amazing occurrence that ended yesterday's Katha? Raise your hand if you remember. Yes. Yes.
Son of Advaita Acharya.
Achyutananda. What did he do?
He was amazed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his Supreme Lord, said
How could he have a guru? Who can teach the ultimate guru, the supreme guru? So when Advaita Acharya heard that his son had protested so strongly, Advaita Acharya was ecstatic and filled with bliss, because he understood that the Supreme Lord's own associate, Mahaprabhu's own associate, had taken his birth as his son, because Achyutananda was only 5 years old and he was speaking such high philosophy. So while Advaita Acharya was embracing his son with tears flowing from his eyes, at that exact moment, at that exact and auspicious moment, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu arrived. From where? Ramakeli, accompanied by his associates. Immediately, Advaita Acharya fell to the ground, for before his eyes was his worshipable deity, the master of his life. He offered his Damdavat obeisances, roaring loudly, Hari, Hari, Hari. And the women chanted, Jai, Jai, Jai. And great bliss arose in the home of Advaita Acharya. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Advaita Acharya, and he sprinkled his limbs with tears of ecstatic love. Advaita Acharya wept as he held the feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to his chest. In the 4 directions, the devotees all wept. Mataji, it may be a little bit close for a translation. Maybe no need to be sorry, but just move a little bit that way, because otherwise it distracts. That's okay. Then, after Advaita Acharya became peaceful, he humbly offered Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu a place to sit, and all the devotees surrounded him, surrounded Mahaprabhu. Nityananda embraced Advaita Acharya, and staring at each other, gazing at each other, they became happy at heart. The devotees who had accompanied Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu then offered their obeisances to Advaita Acharya, and with great love, Advaita Acharya embraced them all. In a moment, Advaita Acharya's small son, whose name was Achyutananda, he offered obeisances to the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya embraced him, and he covered Achyutananda's body with tears of love. Lord Chaitanya would not let Achyutananda leave his chest, and Achyutananda clung to the Lord's body. And seeing the mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to Achyutananda, the devotees whose hearts were very soft wept with love. Of all of Lord Chaitanya's associates, none was more dear to him than Achyutananda. No one was like him. For Nityananda and Swarup Damodar, Achyutananda was as dear to them as their own lives. He was the foremost disciple of Sri Gadadhar Pandit, and therefore Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Achyutananda was a worthy son of Sri Advaita Charya. For some days, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu stayed and enjoyed Sankirtan, the chanting of Krishna's holy names in Advaita Charya's home. And noble-hearted Advaita Charya soon sent a messenger to Mother Sachi. And taking with him a palanquin, the messenger quickly went to Navadvip and told Mother Sachi the news. Her son had returned to Shantipur just after Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas. Advaita Charya and Nityananda Prabhu tricked the Lord, who was trying to go to Vrindavan. They tricked him into going to Shantipur, and all the devotees from Navadvip who felt that, practically speaking, they had lost their lives in separation from the Lord. They were thinking they may never see Him again. When they heard that Mahaprabhu was now in Shantipur, they all went there to see Him, and they chanted Krishna's names in great ecstasy all together, just as they had done in Sridham Mayapur, Navadvip Dham. And Mother Sachi had come at that time. And at that time, she requested Mahaprabhu to live in Jagannath Puri. At least, she thought, I would be able to get news of you now and then, because Navadvip and Jagannath Puri were like two rooms of the same house. So now again Mahaprabhu had returned to Shantipur, and Advaita Charya sent the message to Mother Sachi. Now listen very closely to the ecstasy of separation that Mother Sachi was experiencing. This was before she heard the news that Mahaprabhu was in Shantipur. But upon hearing this, Mother Sachi was plunged into a nectar ocean of ecstatic love. Mother Sachi was always swimming within a sea of ecstatic separation from her son. When she saw anyone standing in front of her, she would say, "Please tell me news from Mathura. How are Krishna and Balaram doing? And what is that sinner Kamsa doing now? What news do you have of Akrura? For he was that thief who stole my Krishna and stole my Balaram. Please tell me. I have heard that rascal Kamsa has died. Is it true that Ugrasena is now the king?" And sometimes Mother Sachi would ecstatically call out, "Krishna, Balaram, quickly, milk the cows. I wish to soon go and sell the milk." And sometimes Mother Sachi would grab a stick and say, "Grab him, grab him. Someone help me catch this butter thief. He's now attempting to flee far away. Oh, you boy, you naughty boy, where will you run now? Now I will tie you up." Speaking these words, Mother Sachi, completely absorbed in ecstasy, would go here and there, and seeing a woman come before her, she would say, "Let us go to the Yamuna and bathe." Sometimes she would loudly weep, and hearing her weep, every heart would melt. An unbroken stream of tears flowed from her two eyes, and hearing her lamentations, even stones and dry sticks would break apart. Sometimes Krishna would appear before her in her meditation, and forgetting who and where she was, she would begin to loudly laugh. She would laugh blissfully, and she would not stop for 6 hours. Sometimes Mother Sachi would faint in ecstasy, and for 3 hours, no sign of life would exist in her body. Sometimes her body would shake, she would tremble. Again and again someone would pick her up, and again she would fall to the ground. Who has ecstatic love for Krishna like Mother Sachi? Devotion to Krishna resides in Lord Krishna's transcendental body, and it was Lord Krishna himself who gave the power of devotion to Sachi Devi. Day and night, Mother Sachi swam in the waves of the ocean of ecstatic love. And whenever she was slightly in external consciousness, then and only then she could worship her deity of Lord Vishnu. And it was just when Mother Sachi had sat down to worship, the messenger from Sri Advaita Charja arrived with the news. Your son has arrived in Shantipur. Mother, come quickly and see him. Hearing this, Mother Sachi became happy, and the messenger left to tell the news to the other devotees of Navadvip. Hearing of the Lord's arrival, the hearts of the devotees became filled with great joy and love. And taking Mother Sachi with him, the Lord's dear devotee, Gangadas Pandit, at once departed along with Murari Gupta and the other devotees, and their party quickly arrived in Shantipur. From afar, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw his mother, and at once he fell to the ground, offering his dandavat obeisances. Again and again he circumambulated her, and again he offered his dandavat obeisances. Again and again he would recite prayers. I say that you are the mother of the universe. I say that you are pure devotional service personified. Oh Mother, your form is spiritual, it is beyond the modes of nature. And if you cast your merciful glance on a conditioned soul, that soul will find his heart filled with love for Krishna. You are the personification of pure devotion to the Lord. You are Vishnu's potency. You are Ganga Devi, you are Devaki, you are Yashoda, you are Devahuti. You are Prishni, Anusuya, Kaushalya, and Uditi. You are the protector, and by you everything is destroyed. Who has the power to describe you? Your home is within the hearts of all. Reciting words like this, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu offered prayers to his mother. Streams of tears of bliss flowed over his limbs, and reciting these verses, he humbly offered obeisances to Mother Sachi. Simply by seeing Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's face, Sachi Devi was at once stunned with bliss. As Mother Sachi remained motionless, like Karputli. You know what is Karputli? Putuna. Karputli. It means what? a wooden doll, a puppet. The Lord said Mother Sachi was motionless in her ecstasy. She was stunned. And the Lord said to her, whatever little devotion to Lord Krishna I possess has come only by your mercy. The millions of servants of your servants are more dear to me than my own life. Anyone who once remembers you is no longer bound to this world of birth and death by touching you. Ganga and Tulsi have become glorious and fortunate and capable of purifying everything. You have always been my protector, and I have no power to repay the debt that I owe you. Your own spiritual virtues will have to be my repayment for the love you gave me hour after hour. In this way, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu happily offered his prayers, and by hearing them, the Vaishnavas floated in bliss. Mother Sachi knew that her son was Lord Narayan, having descended to earth, and she knew that he could say whatever he wished. But after some moments, Mother Sachi said only, "Who can understand your words?" As lifeless objects float in the ocean, helplessly carried here and there by the currents, so all conditioned souls float in the ocean of repeated birth and death, carried here and there by your Maya. Son, I replied to your words by saying, whatever you do is good. You may recite prayers, you may circumambulate and bow down. I know that you will do whatever you wish. And hearing Mother Sachi's words, the devotees loudly called out, Haribo! Who has the power to describe the great heights of Mother Sachi's devotion? For within her womb, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu descended to this world. A person who says the material sound, Ai, which is mother. In Bengali, they say mother. In Maharashtra, Marathi. They will find by the power of those words, that word Ai, that person no longer experiences material suffering. Are you all saying that sound vibration in your minds right now? Gazing at the Lord, Mother Sachi became filled with bliss and overcome with bliss. The devotees were not in external consciousness. What human being has the power to describe the bliss that they felt? Mother Sachi's bliss made Lord Nityananda wild, reciting prayers that said that she was Devaki herself. Advaitacharya offered Shachimata his own Dharnavat obeisances, which would not come to an end. He offered them again and again. Mother Sachi's bliss made Haridas, Murari, Sri Gaba, Narayan, Jagadish, Gopinath, and the other devotees blissful also. Whoever reads or hears of their bliss will attain the great treasure of pure love for Krishna. Advaitacharya then announced to the devotees, glorious Mother Sachi will cook for the Lord. And Mother Sachi happily went to cook. With great love she thought, my son, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, is the Supreme Lord Himself. How many different kinds of food did Mother Shachi prepare? I do not know even the names of the different foods she cooked. Mother Shachi knew that her boy liked shak. So she cooked 20 different varieties of shak. With a happy heart, Mother Shachi prepared each kind of food in 10 or 20 different ways. And when the cooking was completed, she brought everything to the dining room, and over the rice, the vegetables, and other food, she placed tulsi manjaris. She placed the rice, the vegetables, and other foods in the 4 directions, and in the middle, she placed a comfortable seat, and accompanied by his associates, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu sat down to eat. And seeing the fine arrangements of rice, vegetables, and other foods, Mahaprabhu at once offered his Dandavat obeisances to the prasadam. The Lord said, even without eating, simply by seeing this food, one becomes free from the bonds of birth and death. How beautiful is this food! Words cannot properly praise it. Simply by smelling the fragrance of this prasad, one attains pure devotion to Krishna. Just by looking at this food and smelling its fragrance, one can easily know that Krishna and his associates have certainly accepted it, and they have eaten it. And after speaking these words, the Lord first circumambulated the food and sat down to eat. With the Lord's permission and the 4 directions, the devotees sat to watch him. As Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ate, Sachi Mata filled her eyes with her son's form. One by one, with great pleasure, the Lord ate a portion of each kind of food that Sachi Devi had prepared. Most glorious of all was the shak. And just by seeing that shak, the Lord became pleased. He smiled gently, and he ate again and again and again. He would eat the shak that Mother Sachi had prepared. He then spoke to everyone the glories of that shak. This shak is named Achyuta, and by eating it, one falls in love with Krishna. And by eating this shak named Patala Vastuka and Kala, one attains the association of Vaishnavas, birth after birth. By eating the shak named Salincha and Hilancha, one becomes free of disease, and one also gets to meet Krishna. Again and again praising the glory of the shak that Mother Sachi had cooked in this way, and the hairs of his body standing erect with joy, the Lord ate. If one hears or reads of the glories of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, a conditioned soul will break the bonds of material ignorance. Sitting, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu happily ate. Then he left, he rinsed his mouth, and while the Lord was rinsing his mouth, what do you think the devotees did? What do you think they did? They happily ate the remnants of the prasadam that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu had tasted. They then approached Mahaprabhu, who had sat down. His followers gathered around him. And seeing Murari Gupta before him, the Lord smiled and said, "Murari, I heard you wrote 8 Sanskrit verses describing Lord Ramachandra. Please recite them." And after Murari recited and explained those verses, the Lord was pleased. Thus Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu placed his lotus feet on Murari Gupta's head, and he said, "Listen, Murari, by my mercy, without any obstacle, you will be Lord Ramachandra's servant, birth after birth. Anyone who takes shelter of you, even for only a single moment, will certainly attain Lord Ramachandra's lotus feet." And hearing the boon, the benediction that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave Murari Gupta, everyone made a great sound of Jai, Jai. And in this way, the lion, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, enjoyed his pastimes along with his devotees, who were like bees attracted to the pollen of the Lord's lotus feet.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Charitamrita, another event is described during Mahaprabhu's stay in Shantipur. Please listen. When Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Shantipur, Raghunath Das came to meet him. Two brothers named Haranya and Govardhan, who were residents of Saptagram, had an income of 1,200,000 rupees. Both Haranya Majumdar and Govardhan Majumdar were very opulent, and they were very generous, magnanimous. They were well behaved and devoted to Brahminical culture. They belonged to an aristocratic family, and amongst religionists, they were predominant. Practically, all the Brahmins residing in Nadia were dependent on the charity of Haranya and Govardhan, who gave them money, he gave them land, he gave them villages. Nilambara Chakravarti, the grandfather of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, was much worshipped by the two brothers. But Nilambara Chakravarti used to treat them as his own brothers. Formerly, these two brothers rendered much service to Mishra Purandara, the father of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and because of this, the Lord knew them very well. Raghunath Das was the son of Govardhan Majumdar, and from childhood he was uninterested in material enjoyment. When Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Shantipur after accepting the renounced order, Raghunath Das met him. When Raghunath Das went to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately fell at the Lord's lotus feet in ecstatic love, and showing him mercy, the Lord touched him with his feet. Raghunath Das's father, Govardhan, always rendered much service to Advaita Charya, and consequently Advaita Charya was very pleased with the family. When Raghunath Das was there, Advaita Charya favored him by giving him the food remnants left by the Lord. Raghunath Das was thus engaged for 5 or 7 days by rendering service to the Lord's lotus feet. After bidding farewell to Raghunath Das, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri, and after returning home, Raghunath Das became mad with ecstatic love. He used to run away from home again and again to go to Jagannath Puri, but his father kept binding him and bringing him back. His father even had 5 watchmen guard him day and night. So strong was Raghunath Das's attachment to Caitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. He could not tolerate being without him for a moment. 4 personal servants were employed to look after his comfort, and 2 Brahmins were employed to cook for him. In this way, 11 people were incessantly keeping Raghunath Das under control. Thus, he could not go to Jagannath Puri, and because of this, despite all his material comforts, he was very unhappy. When Raghunath Das learned that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu had arrived in Shantipur, this for the second time, the time we're hearing about now, he submitted a request to his father. Raghunath Das asked his father, "Please give me permission to go see the lotus feet of the Lord. If you do not, my life will not remain in my body." Hearing this request, Raghunath Das's father agreed, giving him many servants and materials. The father sent him to see Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. and requested him, please return home soon. For 7 days, Raghunath Das associated with Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Shantipur. And during those days and nights, he had the following thoughts. Perhaps, okay. Raghunath Das thought, how shall I be able to get free from the hands of these watchmen? How shall I be able to go with Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to Nilachal? Since Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was omniscient, he knew everything. He could understand Raghunath Das's mind. The Lord therefore instructed him with the following reassuring words. Raghunath Das did not say anything. He did not submit anything to Mahaprabhu. Even in Jagannath Puri, he would not speak directly to Mahaprabhu, although he was serving him. He submitted everything to Sri Sarup Damodar, and then Sarup Damodar would speak on behalf of Raghunath Das to Mahaprabhu. So here, he did not say anything, but Mahaprabhu knew his mind, and he spoke the following reassuring words. Be patient and return home. Don't act like a crazy fellow. By and by, you will be able to cross the ocean of material existence. Srila Prabhupada writes these words in his purport. The material world is like a big ocean, just like a big ocean. It begins with Brahmaloka and extends to Patalaloka, and there are many planets or islands in this ocean. Not knowing about devotional service, the living entity wanders about this ocean, just as a man tries to swim and reach the shore. Our struggle for existence is similar to this. Everyone is trying to get out of the ocean of material existence. One cannot immediately reach the coast. But if one endeavors, he can cross the ocean by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. One may be very eager to cross this ocean, but he cannot attain success by acting like a madman. He must swim over the ocean very patiently and intelligently under the instructions of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu or his representative. Then, one day, he will reach the shore and return home back to Godhead. Mahaprabhu continued his instructions to Raghunath Das. You should not make yourself a show bottle devotee and become a false renunciant. For the time being, enjoy the material world in a befitting way and do not become attached to it. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu continued, within your heart, you should keep yourself very faithfully. But externally, you may behave like an ordinary man. Thus, Krishna will soon be very pleased, and he will deliver you from the clutches of Maya. You may see me at Nilachala Jagannath Puri when I return after visiting Vrindavan. By that time, you can think of some trick to escape. What kind of means you will have to use at that time will be revealed by Krishna. If one has Krishna's mercy, no one can check or stop him. In this way, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to Raghunath Das, who returned home and did exactly what the Lord told him. And after returning home, Raghunath Das gave up all craziness and external false renunciation and engaged in his household duties without attachment. When Raghunath Das's father and mother saw that their son was acting like a householder, they then became very happy. And because of this, they loosened, slackened their guard. And now we will read 2 more slokas that speak about Mahaprabhu's leaving Shantipur for Jagannath Puri. But tomorrow we will return to Shantipur to complete this pastime. Meanwhile, Raghunath Das had gone home. Meanwhile, at Shantipur, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu assembled all his devotees, headed by Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu. He embraced them all and asked their permission to return to Jagannath Puri. Because he had met them all in Shantipur, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu requested all the devotees not to go to Jagannath Puri that year. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, I shall certainly go to Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri. And if all of you give me your permission, I shall return here again without difficulty. Clasping the feet of his mother, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu very humbly requested her permission. Thus, she gave him leave to go to Vrindavan. Srimati Sachi Devi was sent back to Navadvip, and the Lord and his devotees started for Naladri, Jagannath Puri. So just imagine how the devotees in Shantipur were feeling. They were crying, they were deeply immersed in separation from their Lord, the Lord of their life, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He had come to Shantipur. They had called, they had all gathered there. They chanted, they danced together, they took prasadam together, they ate the remnants of his food. And then he left. Their hearts felt empty in separation, and of course, tears fell from their eyes. So how interesting is the way of devotional service, because as the devotees of Sridham Mayapur Navadvip were crying, the devotees who accompanied Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu rendered all kinds of service on the way to Nalanchala, Jagannath Puri. Then, in great happiness, the Lord returned. When Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu arrived in Jagannath Puri, he visited the temple of the Lord, and news then spread all over the city that he had returned. And all the devotees then came and met the Lord with great happiness. The Lord also embraced each of them in great ecstatic love. So one group of devotees was crying, and another group was rejoicing to have the association of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Anant Koti Vaishnavindi ki ISKCON founder Charja Srila Prabhupada ki Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki Sri Vrindavan Dham ki Sri Navati Pramaya Podham ki Ganga Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glorious to some of the devotees, all glorious to some of the devotees, all glorious to some of the devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivinoda ki jai.